Hello, world, and welcome to Creating Light with Kelsey. Today, I'm going to talk about a subject that I've been meaning to talk about for a while. If you're an OG listener and you're here before I went off the grid and you're here on the first time that I released the podcast episode, this is going to be a subject you're already familiar with, and I'm not sorry if you're rehearing it. I am in the middle of creating, doing all the things simultaneously of this project that has been put on my heart and soul and channeled through me to give the world. This is like my main gift and the way that I am here to show up as a healer and teacher and guide, way shower, pioneer, yeah, in healing trauma and the depths and connecting with the unconscious mind. I will give a little bit of a brief rundown and then kind of break it down more in more detail. But to start off, when I was in grad school, we had to write a thesis. That was part of the program, was creating a study and writing a thesis. Fun fact, not every counseling graduate program requires people to do this. And I fucking think they should, because this was so difficult and expansive, challenging, pushing me to my edge, everyone to their edge. If you wrote a thesis, like with that, I can't even imagine a dissertation, like people with a PhD, God bless, Jesus Christ. But like, the fact that there are some counselors out there that have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to research and creating a study and writing a thesis about it, I'm still a little butthurt. Is it a jealousy or butthurt or like offended? I'm trying to not use the word butthurt anymore, actually. That's been engraved in my vocabulary for a very long time, so I'm trying to shift it. Fun fact, I was told by someone on Hinge that the history of the word butthurt came from, actually not a fun fact, horrible fact, was like the phrase is termed from gay men getting raped in prison. And that's why it's called butthurt, because their butt literally hurts from getting raped. So when that came to my awareness, I was like, shit. I had no idea, and I'm going to try and not say that anymore. Thank you for bringing that to my awareness. So if you didn't know, now you know, and try to change your language with that word. Offended. Personally offended. I am personally offended by people that have graduated with their master's in counseling in any counseling program, art therapy, play therapy, talk therapy, and you never wrote a thesis. I'm a little pissed. Anyway, but I'm grateful that I did, because it came to me with my soul's work and how I'm supposed to show up, and it made me a better person and therapist. So, But for my thesis, my study, it was channeled through me to create something to teach people and guide people on what self-care truly means after trauma. Because a lot of people have misconceptions of what self-care really is. And I've talked about this, I believe it was on episode 8. Was it 8? Episode 8 or 9. It goes into the two concepts of self-care, of how there's the self-care of that brings you joy and fills you back up and you do things for fun and for just like a little stress relief. That's still essential, but then there's the self-care that is draining and exhausting, but it's a productive exhaustion. I'm going to trademark that term because I've never heard it before other than coming out of my mouth. A productive exhaustion of facing your triggers, facing your trauma, facing your fears and emotions that need attention, the unpleasant shit, and you feel through it and give it what it needs. That's actually self-care. And you still need both, but if you're really ignoring that self-care of giving yourself the attention that you need, it's a facade of self-care. You're not really taking care of yourself. And after trauma, that's the shit that you need. I lost my train of thought, but with the study, That came to me because I was about to enter the last year of grad school and going to be starting that process. And I had no idea the topic that I wanted to talk about or research for the next fucking year of my life that I'd be passionate about. I was like, trauma, sexual trauma, like that's all I care about really right now, that passionate about to research. So I don't know. And then I had an out-of-body experience during a trauma class at residency for school, of course, among all places. She was taking us through a dance yoga session, and we were on the third eye component. I actually have an old podcast episode where I fully talk about this out-of-body experience. I might re-release it, honestly, because it was fucking magical. But during that, before this, when this out-of-body experience happened, I didn't know anything about higher self. I don't know why I was having an out-of-body experience at that moment. I just knew that's what that was, and I knew nothing else about it. Now I'm realizing it was higher self coming to me. And I was in a meditative state, and I was just so open to receive. And when we were on the third eye component during the dance trauma therapy session, my higher self gifted me with a traumatic memory that I had completely forgotten about, which was at the time I had just got married. And then the memory was my now ex-husband, but then was my husband, the memory of him raping me when we were dating. I was like, what? And then I knew that my study was going to be self-care after trauma. And for me, I wanted to do it with people and helping them recover from sexual trauma, but I know that this is just across the board of helping people heal from trauma. Then I had the knowing of, you've got to do this on yourself first before you deliver it to the public. And the protocol, the outline, the methodology, all of it just came through me. Like it was like the claircognizant moment of, I just knew what it was going to be and how I wanted to do it and how I wanted to deliver it. So that, I may get into that whole process later of writing the study and my study and the results and all of the things, because that's very beneficial information. But I'm coming on here today. I am a little all over the place, so I'm just excited, but also like, what is life as well. Since then, I started that study I did it on myself at the beginning of 2020, and then I graduated at the end of 2020. Well, I started the research in 2019, but then I physically started doing the study in 2020. Anyway, since it's been released and finished and published, and I've been graduated and I've been living this life and now out of trauma of no longer married to that man, it's been on my mind, this study of like, how do I want to give it to the world? And the only way I knew it was in the academia sense of, it's a study, so then you do it and you keep doing this and collecting research and data and this, and this. And my soul was like, no, figure something else out on how you give this to humanity. The past year, I've slowly have let it incubate and come into something of what it's meant to be without forcing it, and just trusting the process of the deeper integration that's beyond my conscious knowing. And now I know, in the last 6 months or so, have been restructuring the way that I want to deliver it. I've made a lot of changes as far as lengthening and adding phases, but the bulk of the work is still the same. There's just other add-ons, since now I know what else is needed, since I took it on myself first, and I've turned it into an 8-month course. Not releasing the name of the course yet. I don't know when I will do that, but I know what the name is. And it's even more of getting into the depths and the root of your trauma and your shadows, and bringing it all up to conscious awareness to fucking look at it and reprogram the shit that no longer serves you. And it comes at it in all different angles of the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain, the unconscious mind, the body, the spirit, the human self. Like, it is all encompassing, and it will change your life if you complete it. So since I've made so many changes, and me being the person that I am, I'm taking it again. And I'm recording this January 13th, and I've already prepared myself and I've been on the journey. Have had major resistance, dear Lord. But it starts January 20th, and I will be taking it for 8 months. And a part of the restructuring process that I created is having an accountability buddy, and I manifested an accountability buddy. So I have a dear friend that's going to be taking this with me, and we're going to be in it together. And we have each of our own therapists, so we have that support system too. And the accountability buddy is just an extra component of someone that's with you on this that fucking gets it. And that will just help you get through it, be more expansive as well. And that's a major change to the study, because when I did it myself, I just did it myself and didn't have that type of support. So yeah, I just came on here to talk about it, and I'm super excited that it starts in just a few days. 7 days. 7, that's what you do. 7 + 3 is 10, and then it'd be the 20th. It's just another deep inward journey. Right when my Saturn return is ending, my Saturn moves out of Aquarius, and my rising in Saturn is in Aquarius, and it's moving into Pisces in March, mid-March. I'm not exactly sure when, but that's kind of when the heaviness of the course will be ending and then going into a more breathable state. So that timing is not lost on me. I started my study in 2020 when my Saturn return started, and now I'm doing my course again when my Saturn return is ending. So that's a component I'm going to think about for the future of possibly marketing it to people that are getting into their Saturn return or getting out, and or retaking it when they're getting out. That's on the radar. And since I'm speaking it more into existence, I'll draw people in that are about that. If you want to take full advantage of your Saturn return, fucking take my course. For real. It has put me so far ahead of the curve in all realms: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, breaking generational trauma on my soul's path at a way faster rate. And this is just 8 months of your life. Jesus Christ. And you'll be integrating it nearly for the rest of your life. If you can, you can always go back and look at things. Anyway, look at me pitching and selling. I'm great. So yeah, I will be coming on here and talking about this process, and I'm sure my friend will be totally down to come on the podcast and get interviewed at certain points and talk about it and her experience. Yeah, starts in a week, 8-month process of deep inward healing, and I'm so ready. It feels like it's the last part I've been kind of existing, but then this is also the last 10% within me of the density of the bulk of trauma that my soul came here to move through. And I have moved through it, and now it's the last 10% that's here that gets to be worked through, to no longer be chained down by it. And this course is going to do that, because I already done it once, and that was a fuck ton and way bigger percentage. And now we're doing it again, and we're just gonna clean out that and unlock so much more. I don't even know what else is there to be unlocked and seen and felt and just be reborn. But yeah, that's all I have for you. I have no idea how this episode is going to sound, because I kind of rambled a little bit. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know if it will make sense. I kind of don't really care. I just want to get the message out there, and stay tuned for me to talk about this and talk about my course. And if you're interested, get in my field, stay in my energetic field, explore some of my services to already prepare yourself, because this is not for everybody, and it's not for people that are new on the journey. This is not for people that don't have a solid relationship with their parts, their ego and protector and inner child. This is not for people that haven't fully felt their depths and their pain and their emotional pain and gone to their depths and came back out. That has had to have happened first at least once in your life before you take this course. But if you're not there yet and you're interested in taking the course, now's the like fucking perfect time to hire me as a therapist or get in on my workshops to start that process. So when I am ready to launch it to the public, you'll have that foundation and you'll be good to go and ready to go. And then you'll still have me as your guide on the journey. Because when I release it, I obviously will be your therapist when you take the course. Here we are, though, an exciting journey. I don't know if people really talk about their big projects when they're still in the midst of it, but it's something I don't care. It's something that you all need to know and be familiar of to prepare the mind if it speaks to you, because it will take time for it to speak to you, to land, to make a decision, and then take action of doing it, because it is so deep and it is so intimidating for the ego and trauma. And this is why I'm talking about it now for people that it's meant to speak to. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'll just keep on rambling because I can talk about it forever, and I didn't have a plan of how I was going to release this information. I just started talking. So I don't even, like I already said 2 minutes ago, don't know if this will make sense, but yay for imperfection and just showing up and delivering messages. So yeah, thank you for listening. And remember, when we see the light in ourselves, we create light in others. I love how like one day we'll elevate enough to not use Zoom and we'll get more techy, but today's not that day.